Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, Mr. Secretary.
Good afternoon, Representative.
I've got a long way to go, so if you can give me quick answers, I'd appreciate it.
I'll try, sir.
First thing, we complain about No Child Left Behind and that our parents, that our teachers are teaching kids to take a test.
Yes, sir.
In the growing areas of the Commonwealth, where the growing school districts would have a tremendous amount of transient students moving in, moving out, federal guideline is June 30th of the prior year. Why does Pennsylvania adopt October 15th to put more pressure on the schools?
For the purpose of NCLB?
For the purpose of the testing in March and April.
I have to get back to you on that. I have to understand why that date was picked out, so I don't know the answer to that question.
I'd appreciate it if you can, because if we can turn it back, at least we know that the school has had that student for a period of time. Another question, and I noticed, and I'm happy about it, the VOTEC was level funded. My concern is that some school districts, because I think they have a purpose, not every student is going to go off to college, but some could learn a trade at the VOTECs and be able to take care of themselves once they get that. My concern is that some school districts might not be pushing students towards the VOTEC because of budget cuts. Is that a possibility, or can we?
No, I would actually hope that the exact opposite happens. I think that every opportunity should be provided to students. Actually, we had a conversation I had my Senate hearing this morning, and a big issue that was discussed over there, and it's an important issue across the Commonwealth, is the problems that we have with dropouts. And perhaps one type of program would not be attractive to another type of program. And I would hope that if school districts did that, and I would hope that they don't. I don't expect that they do, but I would hope that they don't. That some of the students will be disillusioned because they weren't getting the program that was in their interest.
You know, since you mentioned dropout, that's another. No Child Left Behind, federal legislation. If a student drops out, comes back, you count it as one. It's the same student. We counted them as two. Why?
Well, we just changed our definition of what dropouts and graduation was to be in line with the federal government. I'm very familiar with the implementation of NCLB across the country, and there were a lot of problems with states that were gaming the system, and you could not get an accurate read at all as to what a true dropout rate was. Some states at one time or another would say, if you're there in September 1 of the school of senior year, or you're there in January 1 of your senior year, and you finish up, then you're considered a graduate. Where others, now the movement is to move it back to the 9th grade, or if you're there at 9th grade, where you finish up at the end of the year. Or at the end of the school term, excuse me.
Thank you. I want to, you've heard mention of cuts, that the governor has cut public education. And, it's on the House floor 2 years ago, June of 2 years ago, and it's up on YouTube, I stated, be careful of the candy from D.C., because how you use that stimulus money, if we put it into school budgets and grow budgets, that we're headed for the mother of all tax increases in 2 years, and this is 2 years. And sure enough, the last 2 years, we used stimulus money and put it into operating, one-time fixes, and we're in this problem today. But it's not new. I said it 2 years ago on the House floor. And it's 654,747 2 years in a row that was used. I want to go back to the audits, because there was a comment made on the audits in Philadelphia. Did I pronounce it right, Representative Sabatini, Philadelphia? Thank you. And I also want to talk about hold harmless. I pull out the basic education funding formula, which is drawn out by the cost out study, and I look at my school districts who are losing more money than they received the last 2 years. We're taking more from what they received the last 2 years, my school districts, and we were getting 1.26% of the basic education funding in 2010, and in 2009 we were getting 1.25% of basic ed. Then I look at, and hearing the comments on the audit, my good friends from that big city in the South, and they're receiving $35 million more Now, I can't understand that. Last 2 years, they received an average of, it was 25.69%, 18.47% of the basic education funding. The prior 2 years to that, 2609, 2761. And I bring this up, and I have to tell you a story. 5 years ago, if you built a home in Monroe County, it was worth $250,000. Today, that house is worth $150,000 with an $11,000 a year school property tax. We have over 3,000 empty homes right now. Over 3,000. The growth has killed us. Pocono Mountain School District, the superintendent's in this room. Their population grew from 1985 to 2003, 7,757 students. Back in 1990, off of a 1990 census, we have this hold harmless legislation based off of that census that that whatever that school population is in 1990, you'll be forever paid at that formula. And I know I'm going to hear some school district, some city folks say, well, we've got poorer folks. 38% of the students in Pocono Mountain School District qualify for a free or reduced lunch. 38% of the students. So I just want you to know that I might be in a rural area, but I've got city problems. I know I said a lot, and I need your help. First of all, answer the basic ed question. How could we take more from school districts got very little to begin with, and then school districts got $116 million in the last 2 years, got an extra 35 this year?
It is based upon the formula that was used, and that was used in 08, 09, and then modified again in 09, 010, and 10, 11. So because of changes that happened with demographics at the local level that impacted the ADM and so...
Mr. Secretary, that's not accurate. I'm sorry. Take a look at the numbers when you go back. Look, I go to bed with these numbers because I know the effect that it's had on my school districts. You can't take more from me than I received the last 2 years. If we're going to roll it back 2 years, let's roll it back 2 years and then move from there. But we haven't done that. What we've done is we've rolled it back for some, and for some, because they got so much money the last 2 years, we can't take it all away. So you know what we'll do? We'll take a little bit less to give them more. That's what's happened. Please take a look at those numbers and get back to us. You know, I've tried to explain this, and I'm going to basically tell you, Pocono Mountain School District, this is before the governor announced his budget, what they're facing. Reduction of 124 staff members, 93 professional, 88 teachers, 2 educational consultants, 2 guidance counselors, 25 support staffs. Program alterations, consolidate 2 elementary schools, close alternative high school building and move program to another school, eliminate 19 elementary classes in grades K through 5, eliminate the formal computer education program in grades K to 5, reduce the number of teams from 4 to 3 in grades 6 to 8, realign master schedules and balancing of class sizes in grade 9 to 12 in all content areas, eliminate family dynamics courses in 8 through 12, eliminate classrooms of the future, eliminate world language class. You know, it continues. And this is prior to the governor's announcement of his budget. They're taking a hit for almost $6 million. Now, if that should happen now with the announcement of the budget, we're looking at maybe another 68 full-time positions, another school. We're in trouble. If our newspaper, East Stroudsburg School District, I know Representative Brown is here, we share that school district, is the least funded school district, state-funded per pupil in the Commonwealth. Pocono Mountain and Stroudsburg are in the top 10, like 6th and 7th, and Pleasant Valley isn't that far behind. We've been hurt the last 4 years. That cost out study did nothing to help us, especially with the fact that the hold harmless. It's just killed us. I'm begging you. We need help. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.